Aí, cheguei. Pronta pra DLC do Leviathan. Que eu tenho uma forte esperança que seja uma grande alfinetada ao Final Fantasy XV, como a maior parte das coisas do 16 foi. E seja uma batalha melhor do que aquela que a gente tem no 15 mesmo, quando você só fica apertando um botão e o jogo faz os bagulhos sozinho. Muito bonito, só que na prática não tem muita coisa ali o que se fazer. Cadê a telinha? O chat já tá... O chat não o meu, mas o que tá acompanhando já está aí da loucura. Eu tenho fé que saia a data de lançamento dessa DLC. E digo mais, preciso dizer aqui que se tiver a data de lançamento, eu coloco minhas moedinhas de aposta, meus guios de aposta em abril. Porque eu acho que é muito... Nossa, vai ter um evento no Final Fantasy XIV e Final Fantasy XVI em abril. Que legal. Assim, sem nenhum motivo. Sendo que quando teve os eventos do Final Fantasy XIII, teve o do 13, teve o... Ai, qual é o nome daquele negócio? Do 15. Tudo foi por causa que teve um lançamento de jogo. E aí eles falaram, não, vamos promover dentro da galerinha do 14. Vamos, yay! E aí eles colocavam um eventinho. E aí, bom dia, boa tarde, boa noite, tutupão com vocês. Dessa vez estamos em stream, por causa que eu vi a Yasmin sempre comentava e interagia nas estreias dos vídeos, aí sempre aparecia alguém falando, nossa, mas tá gravado ou é ao vivo? Não, gente, é ao vivo. Sempre bom deixar claro. E aí, como vocês estão? Quais são as suas expectativas pro painel do Final Fantasy XVI hoje? A minha é data de lançamento e Yoshi jogando na cara do Final Fantasy XV que ele vai ser melhor. Será que sai uma data de lançamento pro PC? É uma boa pergunta. Eu tinha esquecido completamente disso, mas eu não sei se já sairia uma data pra versão PC. Eu acho que ele falaria, tipo, ah, não, a gente tá... nossa equipe tá fazendo os bagulho pra sair no PC, confia. Terminou o Rebirth, está com... sem chão já. Aproveita, Moisés, tem vídeo no canal com as minhas teorias malucas. Agora que você terminou, você pode ver os dates, tudo. Tem galera que terminou o Rebirth, no canal do YouTube, tem vídeo eu reagindo a todos os dates. Tem vídeo com as minhas teorias malucas, tem vídeo do final. Inclusive, hoje, 3h30 da tarde, tem videozinho novo do Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. É um guia que ali, ele é em Junon, né? Então ele é bem no iniciozinho. Mas eu achei que seria bom ter no canal, vai que mais pra frente alguém tá começando o Rebirth e vai ficar travado lá procurando tropa da Shinra. Aqui, ó, guia todas as tropas pra vocês. E ainda por cima especifico qual é cada tropa que você tá pegando. Ó, essa daqui é segurança, essa daqui como é? Eu esqueci o nome. Tem tropa incendiária e os caramba 4. Tá ali, tudo bonitinho pra vocês. Tendo gameplay, já alcança minha expectativa. É uma boa. Opa! Começou, gente. Começou? Não sei! Ah! Meu Deus, YouTube! Eu devia ter aberto na Twitch. Agora sim... Pelo menos eu não sou a única. Eu pensei que pudesse ter... Eu ia dar um F5 já. Achando que era meu 10/10 fan stream. Ai, gente, vamos tentar procurar a Twitch, então. it.tv/Square Enix. Outra live do canal deles? Meu Deus do céu. Mano, toda vez que o Yoshi vai streamar... dá ruim. Puta Puta que pariu. Eita! Ah, não, não é quem eu tava pensando. Obrigada por avisar aí. Meu Deus do céu, já não basta. Nossa, mas o áudio tá uma bosta. Nossa senhora, meu Jesus, passei mal agora, hein? Eu tenho aquele casaco. Eu ia vir com um casaquinho do Ifrit, mas tá quente ainda, apesar de ter refrescado.
Final Fantasy XVI 皆さんこんにちは、そして配信でご覧の皆さんも、特に日本だとね、こんばんはかなと思います。
So hello,
Ó a figurinha do Clive lá na
also
frente.
live streaming. So hello to those who are watching. I think people in Japan would be good evening.
今日はこの PAX イーストの会場からファイナルファンタジー16の DLC 第2弾
Aí não é a qualidade do áudio da Square Enix, é a galera da PAX existe, né?
どうぞよろしくお願いします。
Okay, so for today's panel, we would love to talk about the second DLC that we're going to be releasing, The Rising Tide.
Ai, que bonitinho o botão dela, eu acho que é da Jill. Propósito, aceitam um expresso tônica?
さあでは今日このステージ約1時間になりますが、何をお話ししていくかというと、最初はまず、今日のメンバーの紹介をさせてもらって、その後、ライジングタイドの、中身のお話を
Visual meio Persona 5, o PAX tá, né?
最後、ちょっと短い時間にはなりますが Q&A セッションを行おうと思います。
So we have about 1 hour on this stage today. So just a quick overview of what we're going to be talking about. Of course, we're going to introduce the developers on this DLC, and then afterwards we would talk about the actual content of Rising Tide, and then we have a little bit of time to do some Q&A.
さあでは早速ここにいる本日のねメンバー紹介からスタートしたいと思います。
Okay, so we'd like to introduce the members.
E aí, boa
まず
tarde.
映ってるのが、オリジナルの16の主力メンバーです。
Mesma galera que trabalhou só no 16, não teve nenhuma pessoa crescida ali pra DLC, né?
ただ今日はですねライジングタイドの紹介なのでちょっと変えていきたいと思います。
That said, we are going to be talking about the Rising Tide today, so it's a bit different.
Bit different. Ah! Até que eu tirar. Eu não faço ideia quem é esse cara. Deixa eu ver se ele teve algum trabalho em outro lugar.
16ねよく
Por favor, não tira o nome dele da tela não, porque senão eu não vou conseguir pesquisar tempo.
I mean, we have middle-aged men mostly in our core development team, so he's a bit younger. We got fresh blood here.
But not that much younger.
Caralho, ele é do Final Fantasy 13 2.
でも一応ね一応ここいるからさ
Moço, eu já gosto de você porque você é responsável por o único Final Fantasy 13 que eu gosto.
はいはいじゃあ進めていきましょうか
Okay, but we get it. Okay, we get it. This guy, he's important. Sure. But I think the question on all our minds is, who the hell is he?
Yeah.
So,
まあね誰なのか
Mas ele também é
わかんない
responsável pelo Echoes
Yeah,
of
no,
the
I don't think
Fallen.
we've really introduced him yet.
E eu não sei se eu curti o Echoes of the Fallen. Eu gostei da batalha final. Achei ela muito foda. Meio Final Fantasy 14, muito foda. Mas de resto, ficou só uma dungeonzinha, né?
and I added a quick rapid-fire Q&A with a bunch of random, somewhat meaningless questions.
What?
Are you ready?
Are you ready?
Are you ready? Okay, he's ready.
Okay.
Here we go.
Okay.
Remember, don't think, feel.
Yes.
Question 1. How old are you?
14 years old.
14?
41.
41.
41 years old.
14歳かと思ったわ
Eu ia falar que eu adoro o Code Fox. Porque ele não pense, sinta.
So, what was your first project? Yeah.
Gente, não fala muito
What was your
alto,
first
não.
project?
Kingdom Hearts 2.
Ai, aquela figurinha do Joshua.
What was your first job?
Queria.
Battle Content Designer.
Okay. Content designer.
Hum.
And what was your favorite project? 16? 16? 16?
Caralho.
This is the Final Fantasy.
Oh my god
Okay. And what is your favorite FF?
16?
16?
16?
16?
Final Fantasy 7.
Aê!
Okay. What is your favorite game of all time?
Chrono Trigger.
Ó.
Okay, what's your favorite anime?
Dragon Ball.
Nice, nice. What is your favorite food?
Ramen.
Ramen. Good. What's your favorite pizza topping?
Pineapple.
Não! Eu ia falar que bagulho inútil, mas eu tô adorando.
Okay.
No
Is a
pineapple!
hot dog a sandwich?
Yes.
Is a taco a sandwich?
No.
Is a rice ball a sandwich?
No.
関係ねえじゃんもう
Que perguntas são essas?
Okay, we'll get back on track. We'll get back on track. So what icon represents you the best?
Diabolos.
Oh!
Okay. If you could eat the flesh of any Final Fantasy 16 monster, what would it be?
Megal Crab.
Megalocrab? Okay, sure.
Tá.
Is your life story focused or action focused?
Action focus.
Nice.
Ai, eu sou Store
Okay.
Focus.
Chocobos or Moogles?
Chocobo.
Me senti insultada.
Marlboro?
Marble.
Malboro! Não.
Breath or very bad breath?
Very bad breath.
That's what I thought. Jill or Tarya?
Jill.
Okay.
Ó, esse daqui foi uma...
Tifa.
Eu ia falar que Jill ou Tarja é alfinetada.
Or Takagi?
Olha, falei, o Chipsina sempre pede emprego. Ah, bom.
Is Clive alive?
Caralho, se vocês não fecharam, então foda-se agora, né? Se bem que tá o Joshua na mesa, né?
It's an ice break.
Okay, okay. We'll move on here. Okay.
さあというわけで、まあ藤岡もリラックスできたと思うので早速プレゼンテーションちょっと始めていこうと思います。
Será que vai ter um Kingdom Hearts 4? Eles já não tinham... Eles tinham mostrado um trailer há muito tempo atrás e desde então nunca mais foi dito nada.
DLC 2つ作っている。で1つ目、オブザホールはすでにリリース済みとなってます。
Coloquei muito açúcar.
So of course, we've been making DLCs for Final Fantasy 16, and our first one, Echoes of Fallen, has already been released.
さあそして2本目今日は、ライジングタイド
Tá meio
こちらの方
baixinho pra
を
mim.
ご紹
Vou
介してい
aumentar
こ
um pouco,
う
gente.
と思います
And so for today, we are going to be talking about the second DLC, The
Eu baixei
Rising
porque
Tide.
tava estourando muito o áudio
Tada.
deles.
That said,
説明していく前に少しでも映像を見た方がなんとなく頭に入るんじゃないかなと思います
that said, instead of just talking about it, I think having some sort of visual guide would help kind of allow that to sink into your minds.
というわけでライジングタイドのトレーラーからご紹介していこうと思います
As such, we'd like to show off a trailer.
Eu ia falar, acho que saiu uma data assim. Nossa, que bonita a imagem. Ó. Temos trailer, meu Deus do céu. O trailer veio estourando meus ouvidos.
They would create a new Mother Crystal. Thus would our people's wandering, our suffering, finally end. And all it would require was the sacrifice of a single child.
A gente vai pra Mysidia, não é?
None other than Shiva herself. But he deserves
Mano,
better fate than the
se a
one
mina
that
tivesse
was
orelha de
forced
elfo, ia
upon him.
aparecer aquela...
He deserves to be
Shadow...
free.
Eu esqueci o nome dela. A mina lá do Shadowbringers. Que é o lobo.
Leviathan, our most profane fragment.
A voz do Merlin Manson é muito estranha. Não é o Merlin Manson, é como a gente chamou o último. Mostrou um tantinho ali da batalha, mas não senti que mostrou muita coisa. What?
Thank you guys. まあ大抵こういうトレーラーのラストだと発売日が出そうなもんなんだけど。
You know, when we show these kinds of trailers, you would expect there be a release date on there.
大丈夫。今日のセッションの最後必ず発売日話してから帰るので。
But don't worry, we will make sure to mention about the release timing during this presentation.
で今回この今表示されてるアートワーク
Eu não coloquei no trailer porque senão vocês iam embora agora. Foi o que o Chief fez.
もらった新しいアートになってます。
So of course, this is our new key art that we had requested Kazuya Takahashi to draw for the Rising Tide.
Bonita.
今回もですね DLC1、に引き続いてクライブ、ジョシュア、ジル、トルガルという、
Aquele é o Torgal?
というところをしっかり描いて
Pra mim era o Ifrit.
And of course, just like with the first DLC, we have
não.
company, including Jill, Joshua, and Torgal.
Ok.
まあしかもね青空の下でという内容になっていますのでそれらの詳細これから、ディレクターのクジラ岡の方にどんどん掘り下げていってもらおうと思います。
And they will be traversing in a realm that has a blue sky, but we are going to have Kujiraoka explain that throughout this presentation.
Go ahead.
Okay. じゃあ僕の方から、まずはねストーリーのイントロダクションの紹介をしたいと思います。
All right, so we're going to begin with me talking a little bit about the story.
はい、今回の物語クライブの元に届いた差出人不明の一通の手紙から始まります。
So the story begins with a letter arriving at the hideaway.
でそこには伝説の召喚獣リヴァイアさんの名と
Long lost
その
icon
ドミナントを救
is
ってほしい不思議
needed
な
of
願いが書かれて
rescue.
いました。
Eu pensei que ele ia ser responsável por sacrificar uma criança pra poder ser
Is
invocado.
in dire need of help.
なぜ本編にリヴァイアさんが現れなかったのか、ドミナントを救うとは一体どういうことなのか、それらはすべて
Agora a gente vai ter um mapa novo, né? A gente vai pra Mysidia. É bom que seja realmente um mapa novo.
Appeared now after being lost for so many years. And why does its dominant need saving? The answers lie in a place called Mysidia.
それでは、この物語のキーとなる2つの要素を紹介したいと思います。1つ目は新たなキャラクターです。
So now let's take a closer look at two key aspects of the Rising Tide storyline. The first being character.
はい、この女性キャラクター、名前はシュラと言います。責任感が強くて真面目な性格で堂々とした立ち振る舞いが特徴のキャラクターです。
So first we have a new character named Shula. She can be best described as an earnest, dignified, and having a strong sense of duty.
で今お話しした特徴なんですが、どうやら彼女の、立場やこれまでの、背負っているものというものが大きく影響しているようです。で一緒に旅をする中でリヴァイアさんとの関係性や彼女の内面も見えてくるのでぜひこちらもご注目ください。
So these characteristics tie directly into her backstory, a tragic tale that Clive will learn more about on their journey together, as well as learn about...
Ai meu Deus, que susto.
ちなみに、身長感と
Pera aí.
くらいでがっしりした体格です。バトルにもバッチリ参加してくれるので
Obrigada, Fegar, por 10 meses na Ponguard. Yay! E aí,
And as you can
Tupão?
see here, she is well built and almost as tall as Clive himself. She is also an accomplished fighter and will join Clive in battle.
はい、ではですね、続いて2つ目の要素をご紹介したいと思います。
Okay, so let's move on to the second key story aspect.
Ela tem muito cara de personagem do Final Fantasy XIV, mano. Esse PowerPoint, cara.
And of course, that would have to be Ifrit's epic battle with Leviathan.
Ah, Leviathan é meio estranho.
Wait a second. Before you said that Leviathan has to be saved by Clive.
Save. Yes.
How can you save Leviathan by kicking his ass?
そうね、救うってさっき言ってたのに、なんで戦う？
That's true. We did mention to save Leviathan. What does this mean?
いやまあいい質問なんですけど、ここでそれ話しちゃうと
Eu não consigo concluir porque eu fico esperando eles falarem pra eu poder ouvir direito o que eles estão falando. Mas o que eu ia falar? Eu achei feio esse Leviathan, mas makes sense porque ele é uma criatura dos profundezas do mar. E ele realmente parece aqueles bichos que vivem numa profundeza do mar que você nunca vê esse bicho, sabe? Aí quando você vê, você fica, puta que pariu, que esse bicho saiu do meu pior pesadelo, sabe? Então, ele tem o rostinho dele é estranho, por causa que ele tem toda a boca e ele tem um negócio assim na frente. Tem um bicho que parece desse jeito na real life. Só que ele não é tão comprido, óbvio, ele é tipo só um peixe mesmo. Vou colocar no Discord do Mídia, se eu encontrar. Peixes abissais.
本編のような召喚獣バトルの、派手さもさることながらイフリートを操作する、極限のバトルを目指してかなり攻めた難易度にしてあります。
Okay, as for the battle itself, well, it might not be as flashy as some of Clive's previous icon encounters, but seeing it as it is the final icon versus icon battle in the game, we wanted to make it especially challenging.
前回の、エコー・オブ・ザ・フォールンがクライブの
Mano, eu pesquisei pra ter certeza. E agora eu posso falar com propriedade que minha memória está refrescada. Essa mina é a cara da Ciela do Final Fantasy XIV. A única diferença é que a Ciela tem um rabinho de cavalo e orelhas pontudas porque ela é Lelezen.
Positioned it as Clive as a character in his sort of last dungeon. So for the Rising Tide, it would be Ifrit. In its final encounter.
Ai, não aguento mais. Ficou muito doce. Só 2 argolas de limão estavam bons.
ドラマとかストーリーのできるだけ邪魔をしないように、イフリートの技1つ2つ使わなくてもクリアできるぐらいのバランスにしてました。
And so it's going to be a very tough battle for sure. We've adjusted the difficulty so that it is compared to the the base game of Final Fantasy XVI, a lot of those iconic battles where you have those cinematic, large-scale fights, you would only employ maybe 1 or 2 Ifrit specific moves, and you would probably get through it because we try to focus on the story and making sure that it doesn't interfere with the drama that happens in the narrative. But in this time, yeah.
今回はぜひ皆さん ライジングタイドプレイする前にイフリートのアクション全部思い出して全部使える状態にしておいてくださいね。一つでもかけるとかなり苦しくなると思います。
Lembrei não, eu achei.
Before you go into the Rising Tide, you might want to brush up your Ifrit abilities and make sure you know and are familiar with all of the different.
Que esse Leviathan tá me lembrando é um tubarão goblin. Pesquisem no Google Imagens, tubarão goblin. Na hora que eu olhei ele de perfilzinho, eu falei, puta que pariu, é aquele bicho lá. Nome, tubarão goblin.
それによってイフリートにもちゃんと強化が反映されるので、ぜひね諦めずに挑戦していただきたいかなと思います。
Okay, so if at first you don't succeed in the battle, well, remember that Ifrit's strength is relative to Clive's strength, and that includes weapon and gear as well. So, if at first you don't succeed, power up, level up, and try again, and again, and again.
つまりね、しっかりクライブを、鍛えていって。 アイテムも武器防具を更新していけばイフリート自体も強くなるので諦めずにチャレンジしてください。
Yes, so make sure that you are also powering up Clive and making sure that you are thorough in trying to upgrade his equipment, including his gear and his weapon, and don't give up.
はい、ではですね、それでは次いきます。
All right, now we're going to move on to the next one.
次は新たなるその冒険の舞台となるミシディアの紹介をしていきたいと思います。
Next, we're going to take a look at where you're going to be adventuring, the area of Mysidia.
ミシディアとは、ロザリア公国などがある風の大陸の北側にある、旧北部領の一地域となっています。
So Mysidia is one of the many regions located in Storm's northern territories.
ちなみにミシディアといえば、FF だと2と4に登場する国や、町の名前となってますが、それらと直接関係があるわけではないです。
Hardcore FF fans may recognize the name Mysidia from Final Fantasy II and Final Fantasy IV, where it appears as both the names of the village and a nation.
ただいずれも共通して魔法が大きく関わる、場所になるので、オマージュとしては名前を採用することにしました。
And while our Mysidia isn't directly related to those past Mysidias, magic does play a pivotal role in the story of all three, hence us choosing that name as a kind of a callback.
まあそれにしてもね、この青空、本編を最後まで遊んだ方はかなり不思議な、気持ちで見ているのではないでしょうか。
Also, I'm guessing many of you, especially those who have made it to the end of Final Fantasy XVI, have noticed the blue sky in this area.
まあもちろんね、我々がもういい加減明るい場所で冒険したいと思ったことがきっかけでもあるんですが、これにはちゃんと物語上の、理由が、用意してあります。
Again, this design choice mostly came from our dev team being kind of tired of playing the endgame content in that Primogenesis gloom, but there is an actual reason that ties in with the story.
ただそれも、どうしてもねネタバレにつながってしまうので、今日は代わりにこのミシディアの美しい風景をまとめた動画をご覧いただきたいと思ってます。
Of course, I can't tell you what that is, but I can show you a little bit more in this exciting area walkthrough video. So roll the tape.
Vamos ver o mapinha. Eu ia falar mal do Code Fox, sempre que ele parece tão feliz. A gente vai pra aquele negócio tudo branco? Fomos pro Down Trail. É isso. O bicho amarelo é aquele. Então, o Code Fox sempre parece estar muito feliz. E animado, sabe? Tá tipo, yay! A vibe que o Code Fox... Tô falando, a gente foi pro Down Trail, só que pelo 16, cara. Até a estrutura... Agora que eu me toquei, a onda tá travada. Por um momento eu pensei que as pessoas também estavam travadas, cara. Eu queria poder selecionar os capítulos. Se tivesse uma coisa assim, que alguém me perguntasse o que você queria que acrescentasse no 16. Uma seleção de capítulos. Não tem, né? Ia ser tão... mão na roda pra eu voltar a jogar.
You know, it kind of felt like a cliffhanger there. We were getting to the good part.
まああれはまたちょっとね話をしたい。
Don't worry, we'll talk a little bit more about that.
I see.
まあミシディアかなり広いフィールドになっているので見どころたくさんあるんですけど、中でも僕としてはぜひですね、スクリーンショットの一番右上にあると思うんですけど、まああれ波が時間停止したかのように固まってるっていうシチュエーションです。
So of course, Mysidia is going to be this vast area that you'll be traversing, but one thing that I would like to point out is the top left where you see that big wave kind of frozen in time.
水のその一粒一粒まで完全に時間停止された場合どういった見え方になるのか、その表現アーティストも含めて徹底的に作ってくれたので非常に美しい、しかも結構ギリギリまで寄って見れるので、ぜひそういった風景にもご注目いただければと思います。
And the artists were very particular about how we depicted the water down to the different drops of water that are frozen in time. So, and you can get pretty close to that sort of still
Sim,
wave.
aquilo eram
So we
Tonberries.
would recommend to
O
look
Tonberry
at
do
it when
16 ficou
you
bem
see the
B10.
environment.
それにしてもさ、最後なんかこう包丁みたいなやつ持ってたやついたよね。
Just going back to that last part of that trailer when we saw that monster with that giant blade that kind of, coming at you.
いや、やっぱりね、あれは掘り下げないわけにはいかないので、ちょっと彼らの紹介もさせてもらえればと思います。
Okay, yeah, don't worry. We will talk. We can't not talk about those guys, and so we're going to talk about them.
じゃあ次のスライド行きましょうか。
Caralho, o olho dele é
この地
estranhão.
域にね、暮らす新たな蛮族であるトンベリ族になります。FF シリーズを代表するね、モンスターの一つですが、今回かなりまがまがしくなっております。
So Mysidia is home to its own unique tribe of beastmen, the Tonberries. Fans of the Final Fantasy series are sure to recognize these fearsome foes, despite their somewhat sinister appearance in Final Fantasy XVI.
で前回のトレーラーで実は最も再生されている箇所がこのトンベリが登場するシーンだったんですね。でなんでそれがこうなったのかっていうのをぜひここで話させてもらえればと思います。
And so we first introduced these Tonberries in the last trailer that we had. And when we looked at the YouTube data regarding which portion of the trailer was played the most, at the Tonberry spot, there's this huge spike. And so because you've shown that much interest in it, we wanted to talk a little bit about the Tonberries and how they got their design.
じゃあ次のスライドいきましょう。はい。
Cara, o design dele
こ
ficou.
れは可愛いですよね。
俺は知ってる。
O
Yeah, so
design dele ficou
this
muito
is what
foda.
most of us think about when we hear Tonberries in Final Fantasy.
I
Right?
know.
Yes,
Yeah,
for sure. We recognize this one.
でこれが、実はね16の本編の開発初期に登場するアイディアがあったんで、その時に書かれたアートを見せしたいと思います。
So
Pera.
back during the early development of Final Fantasy XVI, we're throwing around ideas of monsters to put in the main game. And wouldn't you know, Tonberry was one on the list. And here is the original concept art that our artists came up with.
No.
この人
Eu ia
真ん中が
falar.
ちょっとおかしいですよね。
Yeah. So,
Ah,
yeah, the guy in the middle.
Ele era pra ser undead.
It's wrong.
しかもメモで。
Mas o que eu ia falar é que a ideia do Tonberry era você chegar e você via aquela criatura fofinha e você pensa, pô, vou dar um cacete nele. E aí você tomava um
これは
cacete.
ですね、やっぱりこうファイナルファンタジー
Só que esse daí você olha e você fala, mano, ele vai roubar a minha alma.
FF のレガシーモンスターっていうのを登場させよう、どれを出そうかっていうミーティングを高井宏とかとやってました。
Ele parece ceifador, cara, com esse lampião, uma espada desse tamanho.
16, we were thinking about incorporating legacy characters from the Final Fantasy series that are recognized by players, and we were trying to choose which ones. And Takai and I were talking about it.
で当然そのトンベ
Não
リ
vou
も
mentir.
やっぱりキャッチ
Que,
ーでもあるし
assim, uma mesa de
アクション自身
RPG
が攻撃かなり
com os
怖そうで
monstros
いいよねっていう話を
com estética do 16 ia ser
とにかく
massa.
元になってるデザインの情報量がとにかく少ない。
But of course, when we were thinking about the Tonberry, yeah, its movements are very catchy, the attacks are very scary, but when you look at the original design and it's just so simple looking.
なのでやっぱりこう情報量16ってかなりリアルなゲームグラフィックスになっているので、あのままの情報量だとあまりにも足りないので、高い主導のもともっと情報量を足したトンベリを作ろうって言ってなったのがあれです。
So with Final Fantasy XVI and the aesthetics that it holds, with the amount of information that is in the details, and trying to translate such a simple figure into that would make it so awkward. So Takai was supervising, okay, so how would we look at this very little information and try to bring it into the realm of 16, and then that's what we came up with over here.
ただやってはみたものの、布はたくさんあって揺れるわ、ランタンは揺れるわ、揺れるもの多すぎてちょっと待ってくれ、一回ちょっと考え直そうっていうことになってボツになってた。
That said, there were a lot of swaying elements, including the hood, a lot of cloth that kind of waves back and forth. Oh, the lantern is hanging from its hand, so it's shaking. Wait a minute, this is a little too complicated at this time. So I'm afraid we had to scrap it.
でその後に DLC の制作が始まって、ちょうど僕が FF レガシーのモンスターも登場させたいと考えていたところにこのアートを見つけて、ただちょっとさすがに肉はつけておくかと、生きてる状態にしておくかということで、新たにデザインを起こしてもらうという流れになりました。
But when we started working on the DLC, we really wanted to bring back some of the legacy Final Fantasy monsters, and that's when we remembered we already had one that we designed and hadn't used yet. So after adding a little bit of meat back to his bones and, unzombifying him a little bit, we settled on the following design.
Ah, eles ficaram bonitinhos. Eu gostei dessas patinhas que eles têm. Ai, o King Tonberry.
一番右がね、トンベリキングなんですけど、
E tem uns minionzinhos.
And so on the right, we have the Tonberry King. You can tell by his crown, which he's wearing over his hood for some reason.
でどのトンベリもかなりね、殺意高めに包丁を振り回して
Ai, está tão bonito azulzinho.
見かけた際にはご注意いただければと思います。
Otherwise, the Tonberries are just as deadly as you remember, so watch out for those extra large knives and their grudges.
結構な数ミシディアのフィールドをうろうろしているので、特に16リアルタイムアクション、突然後ろからトンベリに刺されるっていうことがよくあります。
Parece que eles têm uma sobrancelha branca, parece senhorzinho.
Open field, so sometimes they might ambush you from behind, so please be careful.
Sim, senhor. Tomarei cuidado com ambush pelas costas.
それをぜひ見逃さないようにしてください。
That said, because this is an action game,
Emboscada.
they will kind of take form, or like they'll take their blade, and you will know that they're ready to attack. So that might be a good warning for you to escape or dodge them.
じゃあですね、そんなトンベリとも、戦えるようなクライブの新しい力、手に入れますので、そちらの紹介をしていきたいと思います。
Fortunately, though, Clive will have a little extra help in dealing with these guys.
Tô falando, mano. Esse Leviathan é tubarão goblin.
And that help comes in the form of a new set of iconic abilities for Leviathan, in which Clive summons a sea serpent onto his left hand to use like a firearm.
Teve trailerzinho bem pequeno, Gilgamesh. E depois trailer ali da luta contra o Leviathan, depois umas imagens da nova cidade.
Which are mostly melee focused, the Leviathan ability set features a wide variety of unique ranged attacks.
続いてフィートですね。オーディンアームのように通常攻撃が別の攻撃に差し替わる形ですが、四角でショットガン、三角でレーザーだったりと大幅にその
Uma serpente no braço do Clive, capaz de atacar. É o Ranger Tancred.
Leviathan's Serpent's Cry feat will change your basic triangle and square button attacks, turning the former into a wide area laser and the latter into an impromptu shotgun.
でこれら、かなりね、
強力なんですけど、その
時に撃つ時に、タイダルゲージというリソースを消費します。なので、途中でリロードを挟む必要が出てくるわけですね。
So these attacks are fairly powerful, but using them will drain what is called your tidal gauge. When the gauge is depleted, you will need to reload before you can attack.
Então eles estão dando as informações sobre a próxima DLC, que é a do Leviathan. E mostrou o trailer sem data ainda, mas o Yoshida falou, não se preocupa que a gente ainda vai falar sobre a data de lançamento.
When the preload prompt appears on screen, you will temporarily gain unlimited ammunition. These perfect reloads are the key to maximizing damage.
今日はそのリバイアさんを使った
isso, vamos usar o Leviathan de arma.
ぜひね、
literalmente, arma de
どう
fogo.
使うかっていうのをイメージしながら見てみてください。
So I know that was kind of a lot to follow, so I've brought a video showcasing the Leviathan abilities in action. Hopefully it will give you a better idea of how they can be used. Roll tape.
Obrigada. Eu ia falar, não tô conseguindo visualizar. Ó, o cantinho que faltava era Leviathan. Caraca, velho. Estão ligados? Eu vou apanhar. Mano. O Leviathan virou uma bazuquinha na mão do Clive. Como se ele fosse tipo a bazuca, o metralhadora no braço Barrett. Então, o Leviathan no braço Clive. Esqueci o que eu ia falar. Vocês estão ligados que eu vou morrer muito pra esse Tonberry. Tipo, muito. Então, muito. Porque na outra DLC, mano, que eu apanhei. Tá, que fazia um tempinho ali que eu não jogava. Mas, nossa senhora, eu passei tanta vergonha. Eu vou passar vergonha de novo. Foi satisfatório. Esses ataques que você puxa todos os bichos junto, começa a metralhar ataque, vai só descendo a barrinha de HP deles, é muito satisfatório.
ね、近接がメインですけど、今最後の方でね、コンビネーションでご覧いただいたように、近づいて離れてリヴァイアさん使って、さらに敵引き寄せて近接やってまたリヴァイアさんみたいな、かなり組み合わせの自由度高いアクションになってます。
So yeah, you may be familiar with a lot of Clive's melee abilities, but with Leviathan, you can kind of see how towards the end of the battle video, you saw that he used a combination. You would go near the enemies and then pull back, launch Leviathan, or you can draw your enemies and then do your melee and then go back and launch Leviathan. So it's very strategic. You can try out different combinations.
まあさっきのトンベリもね、近づかなきゃいいね。リヴァイアさんずっと撃ってりゃいいからね。楽勝です。
And of course, with the Tonberries too, as long as you're not near them, they won't come and stab you. So maybe utilize that to your advantage.
はい、じゃあですね、次はこの新たな力も得たクライブで挑める、バトルコンテンツというものを用意してますので、そちらの紹介もさせてください。
All right, so that's all for Leviathan, but we have one more bit of battle content to introduce today.
はい、新たなバトルコンテンツで名前はカイロスゲートと。
Kairos
This new
Gate.
battle content is called Kairos Gate. So I'd like to step in just a little bit with a public service announcement. I've been informed by one of our staff members with the Greek heritage that this is actually pronounced closer to Kairos, but we're using the ancient Greek pronunciation, which is closer to Kairos. And so please, those people that are like furiously typing right now, it's wrong. Put your keyboards down, take a deep breath. We're doing it on purpose. Thank you.
まあまあ古代ギリシャ語だとね、どっちなんだ呼び名はって。
発音がね、大変ですからね。
Wow, the difference between ancient Greeks and modern Greek.
はい、じゃあ内容の説明に戻りた
All
い
right,
と思います。
so let's talk a little bit about the actual content now.
でこのコンテンツなんですけど、本編と雷軸タイドのシナリオをクリアすることで解放されるバトル系のエンドコンテンツとなっています。
All right, so this endgame content is unlocked once you have cleared both the main scenario in the main game and the Rising Tide storyline.
すでに強くてニューゲームで遊んでいる方は、あとはこのライジングタイドのシナリオさえクリアすれば OK ですね。
Which means those players have already completed the game and are playing on New Game Plus need only to complete the Rising Tide storyline to access the content.
内容はすごく簡単に言うと敵との連戦を勝ち進んでいくいわゆるサバイバルモード的な遊びなんですが、これならではの要素っていうのももちろん用意しています。
Kairos Gate is in essence a survival mode wherein Clive must fight his way through 20 consecutive stages, but it has a lot of special.
はい、でまず重要なのが階層をクリアするごとに専用のポイントを使ってクライブを強化できるという点です。
So after each stage, Clive will earn special points that are used to enhance his abilities and improve his
Bonitinho,
chances in
mas
later
não é o
stages.
tipo de conteúdo que eu acabo
でそのポイントっていうの
consumindo.
が階層をクリアした時にもらえるわけなんですが、バトル中にそのテクニックを数値化したバトルパフォーマンスというのが高くなるほどに、そのもらえる強化ポイントっていうのも増えていきます。
The amount of points received will depend on your battle performance or score during the previous stage.
そして、階層をクリアすると、かなり豪華なんですけど、さまざまな報酬が手に入るようになっています。
And in addition to points, clearing stages will earn you various items and rich rewards.
そして、PS5 のリーダーボードにも対応していて、報酬をね一通り手に入れて終わるでもいいですし、何度もプレイして他のプレイヤーとランキングを競うといったこともできるようになってます。
High scores will also be uploaded to the PS5 leaderboard, so you can play for either the loot or you can play for the glory.
文字だけで説明してもやっぱりわからないと思うので、こちらも実際にプレイしている動画を流しながら我々が説明していくという形で見ていただこうと思います。
Again, that was probably a lot to take in all at once, so I'm going to show you a little bit of what the content looks like in this video, and I'll be explaining along with the video. So let's roll the tape.
はい、ということでカイロスゲート、アルテストーンから挑むことができます。
Okay, so the way to get through is via the Arete Stone in the hideaway.
ここに増えているのがこのカイロスゲートですね。
Yeah, and here we have the Kairos Gate.
はい、でカイロスゲートこのようにドット絵で描かれた
Os baúzinhos, cara.
クラシック FF のような UI が特徴になっています。
And as you can see, we went for a decidedly more classic feel to the UI.
でこの画面、階層をクリアするごとに訪れるベースキャンプ的な画面になってますね。
So what you see here is the base camp in between each stage, or circle as we call them, where Clive can prepare for the next battle.
で項目のマップからは各階層の敵の構成とか報酬といった情報が確認できます。
So here on the map you can see what awaits Clive in each circle, as well as the rewards for completing the circles.
でさらに、クライブの強化というのが2種類あって、まずはこの EP を使ったステータス強化です。攻撃や防御といった、基礎的な強化ができますね。
Clive can improve his stats here. First is via permanent enhancements that require EP to purchase.
O que eles estão fazendo com esse visual? Porque isso daí é uma Deep Dungeon no 16. Não no sentido de, tipo, você ir... Cada andar é generativo lá, vai aparecer um novo diferente. Mas porque vai ser um conteúdo que, tipo, essas habilidades não vão impactar na gameplay normal. É um conteúdo próprio deste conteúdo. Tipo, é um upgrade próprio deste conteúdo.
Timely accessories can also be purchased here for free, and equipping them will slightly reduce your score. They do not affect rewards.
そして準備ができたら戦闘に向かいます。
And when you're done prepping, the battle begins.
で各階層、基本的には3ウェーブの敵で構成されていて、どこでアビリティを吐くか、ブルーストの効果をどう生かして戦うかというところがポイントになります。
So each circle is comprised of 3 waves. To maximize your score, you'll need to choose when and where to use your abilities, as also which boons to purchase.
で途中ねちょっとカットしてしまいましたが、勝利するとこのようなリザルト画面に遷移して、報酬アイテムであるとか獲得したバトルパフォーマンスから、算出されたこの EP、BP というものが獲得できます。
The circle is complete when all 3 waves have been cleared. Here at the results screen, you can see your total score as well as any EP and BP earned.
で目標クリアタイムというものも設定されていて、それを満たすことでより多くの、ポイントがもらえるというのが要素があるので、ある程度時間も意識してクリアすると、いいと思われます。
Each circle has a target time. Completing a circle quicker than the target time will earn you bonuses, not only for your score, but for your EP and BP.
Cara,
そしてまた
portais.
戻ってきて先ほどから EP と BP を使って強化をして
como é mesmo? Solução para todos os problemas da Square. Como que a gente vai colocar o personagem ali? Abre um portal. Joga ele lá. Vai dar certo.
だいぶ駆け足でしたが伝わったでしょうか。
Okay.
Né, Laguna?
That was easy enough to understand.
Você que é o detentor do void, do vazio.
ボスクラスの敵も現れたりするので、進めば進むほど敵が強力になっていくという要素も、含まれています。
As you progress through the stages, the challenges you face will grow increasingly more difficult, and there will also be more than one boss waiting for you.
ライト戻してもらいましょうか。
Can we turn the lights back on? The video's over.
あっちは
あっちも
We have the-
スライド戻さないと。
There it is.
Okay, we're back.
はい、さらにですね。
O Code Fox que tá com um controlinho de mudar o PowerPoint.
ステージで S 評価を取ると、すごく強い隠された敵が出たり出なかったりするかもしないかも。
And so, for those of you fearless enough to tackle the gate on the Final Fantasy mode, obtaining S rank on all 20 circles, you may unlock a secret stage with a secret boss. Maybe. Or maybe
いや
not.
maybe じゃないんだよ。
Really?
Obviously not maybe.
ごめんごめん、ちょっと待って、条件確認させてくれるかな。
But allow me to double check the conditions of unlocking this.
カイロスゲートをプレイして、かつそれがファイナルファンタジーモードであること。
Okay, so you will need to enter into Kairos Gate. The difficulty must be Final Fantasy mode.
全20階層をすべて S ランクで突破すると、
And you have to get through all 20 circles and achieve a score of S.
エクストラステージ、エクストラボスがいる。
But doing so will allow for you to encounter this extra secret boss.
Not maybe, yes or no.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Okay.
ちなみにかなりやばいボスなので、相当動画配信も映えると思いますので、ぜひアクション自信のある方はですね、その隠しボス挑んでみていただけたらと思います。
And by the way, this is a really insane boss character that you'll be fighting, and I think those of you who like to make video content, it's going to look really good on screen. So if you are confident in your battle skills, you want to test your mettle,
I don't confident in my berry skills.
ということでぜひ皆さんね、カイロスゲートにもチャレンジしてみてください。
Okay, we hope you enjoy the challenge.
そして、次のスライド行ってみましょうか。
All right, moving on. Once Clive has obtained all of the icons.
No, 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 no,
No.
No?
no.
No?
Don't talk this.
No, no, it
We're
was
not
in the
talking about
trailer.
So,
Eu vou poder voar quando eu tiver todos os primals, icons. Vocês entenderam?
ということで、ダッシュはしましたが、このページについての説明は一切行いません。
Ah, eu não consegui nem
So,
fazer
I
todas as
guess
side
please
quests
disregard
do
the winged
16,
Clive
cara.
up there on the screen, because we will not be talking about that all today. No?
No.
Não.
セフィロスではない。
It's not
It's
Sephiroth.
not Sephiroth, is it?
É bom deixar claro, porque depois do cara falando se eu pudesse, queria o Sephiroth em todos os jogos. E agora a galera tá fazendo meme do Sephiroth em todos os jogos. Então, vai que a pessoa pensa, não, colocaram o Sephiroth no 16.
So, of course, Director Kujiraoka had gone through the different elements that are available for the Rising Tide, including the battle and whatnot.
Qual a chance do
But
Secret
just
Boss
wanted
ser
to
o
mention
Greg?
that, yeah, that's not all that's contained, so.
Não
duvidaria, não. Eu, inclusive, ficaria muito curiosa de ver como é a aparência do Greg no 16. Sim, o Greg é Gilgamesh.
So we would love to encourage people to get the DLC to see it for yourselves with your own eyes. And I'm afraid there were a lot of spoiler elements, so we couldn't go into the story, but that's another thing that we really sort of focused and emphasized. So it's quite rich and the volume is there.
特に今回ミシディアというエリアがジルの故郷旧北部領に近い位置なので、かなりジルにもフォーカスされたストーリーが展開されることになるので、ぜひジル大好きだという皆さんはそのストーリーにもねご注目いただければと思います。
And of course, Mysidia being a very magic central area, it actually is the hometown of Jill as well.
She lived in. It's not the hometown.
Sorry,
Esses calinhos.
The region. The
Tá
northern
rolando
area.
nos fones de vocês?
Yeah.
Ou é meu
where she comes from. So if you
headset
love
morrendo,
Jill,
gente?
story might be another good element to look out for.
Tô vendo uns estalinhos assim, tac, 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 tac.
さあではここまでで、ライジングタイドの一通り説明終わりましたので、
Acho que é a transmissão, porque até ela tá dando uma falhada. Meu Deus, fala logo a data. Vai cair stream, Yoshida.
So we talked about the
Ai, meu Deus!
of the DLC up to this point, but we will also be applying an update to the base game itself for those
É essa
who
câmera
continue
que tá dando
to
problema.
following the main game only.
Tá fazendo esses chiados.
So first off, we're going to talk about a little bit quality of life updates for the quest system.
Return to a quest giver immediately with new quick complete. Como
So first
assim?
off, we're adding a quick complete function that gives you the choice to warp directly back to your quest giver after finishing the quest's final objective.
Você termina uma side, ele te teleporta pro lugar.
プレイステーション5版でもうすでにプレイしてくださった皆さんのフィードバックというのをしっかりこの後新たに遊ぶプレイヤーの皆さんに届けていくためにいろんなものをね対応させていただいてます。
So yeah, we are looking into the future. Of course, those of you who have played on the PlayStation 5 had provided really good feedback. So we paid attention to those and tried to apply where it is necessary so that when we welcome in new players, they will also be able to take part in this.
そして、すでにも表示されてはいますが、報酬でコレクションアイテムがもらえるというクエストのアイコンが変更されます。
And next up, we've changed the quest icons for quests where you can earn collectibles for Clive's Wall of Memories.
でこれなんでかというと、これらのそのクエストって、主要なキャラクターの掘り下げが行われていることが多くて、それをやってるかやってないかでシナリオの解像度がかなり変わってしまうため、今回から、こちらから分かりやすく提示するという形に、なりました。
So these quests usually involve some of the game's most important characters and heavily supplement the main scenarios, who wanted to make them better stand out amongst all of the other side quests.
で先ほどね話がありましたけど、これから遊ぶ方は、せめてね時間がなかったとしてもこのアイコンのクエストだけ遊んでいただければ、さらにね16の物語がより深く楽しめるようになると思いますので、ぜひ覚えておいていただきたいと思います。
So again, hopefully this will help players new to Final Fantasy XVI better understand the story.
では続いてバトル関連をいきたいと思います。
Next up, we'll be introducing some changes to battle.
Ah, isso é muito bom, cara. Você pode fazer vários sets. Eu mesma tava agora pensando, mano, vai vir as habilidades aí do Leviathan e eu vou querer trocar toda uma leva de habilidades pra testar tudo. Só que quando eu fizer isso, eu vou perder o que eu tenho. Vou ter que tirar uma foto antes pra não perder. Mano, ai, isso é muito uma benção. É bom porque quando você encontrou aquele perfeito, você não vai ficar tipo, ai, agora eu tô com preguiça de trocar. Não, você salva essa desgraça e vai testando outros elementos, outras combinações.
No nerfing.
で詳しい、そしてあとカスタムの操作方法の追加がね行われます。
And finally, we'll be adding a new controller type that allows you to freely customize your button layout.
大変お待たせしましたが、すべての、キーアサインを自在に変えられるフルカスタム、ようやくご用意できましたので、ぜひ使ってみてください。
And this was a requested feature, so thank you for your patience on this, but we have made it so that you can more freely customize your key assignments.
どのスキルがどう変わるみたいな細かい情報については、アップデート前にお知らせを、出させてもらいますので、そちらを確認してください。
But again, for more information about this, we'll have a very, very detailed patch notes coming out right before the patch drops.
はい、では続いてその他の項目いきたいと思います。
But that's not all.
はい、フォトモードかなりたくさんの機能が追加
Questão
さ
de
れます。
tom, efeitos de tela e mais adicionado ao photo mode.
Thank you. そして、もう一つ。
Eu quase não usei o photo mode.
OK ストリオの楽譜が大幅に追加されます。
And we'll be adding countless new orchestrion roles to the game.
これで召喚獣戦の曲なんかもアーティストで流せるようになります。
Including ones from various icon battles. But wait. You say countless. What are we talking about? Like 10?
More.
Like 20?
More.
Like 30?
More.
Like 40?
Mag, obrigada pelo seu sub. Bem-vindo a Panguard. Yay! Obrigada.
Okay.
E aí, tudo bom?
じゃあ40曲近く追加されるってことね。
Around 40.
Almost 40 songs.
はい、でこの他にもまだねあるんですけれども、主な、ポイントとしては以上紹介した内容になります。
はい。
And of course, there's more to the update, but that's all we're going to cover today.
以上がバージョン 1.30 の紹介ですね。
All right, that's all for 1.30 version updates.
さあでは残り時間もすいません少なくなり
Em
ました
tese,
の
eles têm
で、
mais
Q&A
cinco
コーナー
minutos, né?
やりたいと思います。
Oof, we are running
quero
out of time, but
datas.
we're going to jump into the Q&A.
今日 たくさんねいただいた質問あるんですが、時間があまりないので2問ぐらいお届けすることになるかなと思います。残ったものに関しては後日ね SNS の方でも回答させていただきます。
So of course we received a lot of questions, but I think we can only cover a couple today. So whatever is left over, we do plan to answer them on our social channels.
Okay. Go ahead.
Okay. But wait a minute. I mean, there's nothing wrong with having Yoshi P do the Q&A session and read out the questions, but his voice is kind of I mean, it's not,
wait. My voice.
Your voice is not. No, it's not sexy.
Not sick.
It's not buttery. It's not British.
It's not.
Pretty.
Let's welcome to the stage our very own Clive Ross.
Eu ia falar, nossa, coitada a voz do Yoshida falando que não é sexy e not British. Pera! Mano, o voice actor do Clive é a melhor pessoa da vida! Ele veio com uma camiseta escrito Baby Girl! Tô falando, mano.
We don't have much time. Calm down. I'm here to speak exclusively about that winged Clive, right? No. Okay, quick questions. As someone, this is from SRP Piggy Prime, thank you. Thank you. As someone who is an older sibling and who loves Joshua and Clive, what was the inspiration behind portraying Clive's relationship with Joshua and Joshua with Clive? Because they are one of the few siblings in modern culture that aren't fighting each other all the time. So wholesome.
Yoshi P?
そうですね、これなんだろう、何か大きな経緯があったというわけではないんですけど、やっぱり初期プロットコンセプトを作っていくときに
Concordo. Dublado do Ketsifi. Muito bom.
を作っていく上で、やっぱりこう家族、兄弟っていうのは欠かせないだろうっていうところからスタート。
Pessoas que eu queria dar abraço. O voice actor do Clive.
There wasn't really a large sort of plot or plan for this, but
Eu diria pessoas que eu queria dar abraço. Code Fox, mas isso daí eu já pude realizar. Ele foi uma pessoa maravilhosa.
Clive Rosefield, and of course we needed to consider what kind of family he was brought up in, and we figured that family and brothers or siblings would be a very integral part.
で、世界も厳しいシチュエーションだし、自分たちの身の回りっていうのも厳しいシチュエーションで、自分たちが背負わされてるものもものすごく重たい。だからこそ世界がどうあっても、この2人だけは
É que vai além da dublagem boa. É que você vê ele, pelo menos nas apresentações, nos eventos e tudo, ele parece uma pessoa legal, ele parece muito simpático, sabe? É o tipo de pessoa que você fala, nossa, eu queria ser amigo dessa pessoa porque ela parece uma pessoa maravilhosa.
The surrounding people that these two were faced with and the different burdens that each of them had to carry, we figured that it would be best if Clive and Joshua kind of supported each other, respected each other, kind of supported each other, thought about each other as we were discussing the story with my hero.
で、僕には兄弟がいない。僕一人っ子なので、年の離れた。
Falou, Ico, bom almoço pra você. Qualquer coisa o VOD vai ficar salvo aqui no YouTube. E aí você pode abrir e aí você pula pro final direto e vai ter a data do Yoshida. Veja quando eu estiver com os braços abertos depois dessa parte, e é provavelmente porque saiu a data. Scrollando ali, cadê aí os braços levantados?
So I would imagine maybe if they're like a lot younger, if they're too close in age, I might fight him all the time. But if he is a lot younger than I am, I would probably be taking care of him very well. And when we were writing the scenario, we were thinking about that. And then, of course, my hero himself has a younger brother, and those two get along really well. So there may have been some influence from real life as well.
そしてもちろんベンさんをはじめとする世界中のアクターの皆さんが素晴らしい演技をしてくださったからこそ、こういう風にね感じていただけたんじゃないかなと思います。
But of course, we can't thank Ben enough for giving life to these characters and all the actors, the voice actors that provided the voice for the different languages as well with your wonderful performances.
Thank you. Should we do the second question? Yeah, let's get on it. From Neku Stripe 619, come on down. From a creator standpoint, what was your favorite part of developing Final Fantasy XVI, and what was the hardest part?
これ僕から答えますね。DLC の開発ももちろん思い入れ深いんですけど、僕本編でね、召喚獣バトルを主に担当させてもらっていました。
So, of course, I have a lot of memories from creating this DLC, but on the main game, I mainly worked on the icon versus icon battles.
で、あれだけ大規模なコンテンツを作れたというところはもう開発者人生においてかなりもね楽しかった部分であり、あれを仲間と作れたっていうことがすごく思い出として深く残っています。
And so for me, what was most rewarding was having the opportunity to be a part of creating something so big and so epic and working with such a talented team to make it happen.
で、一方でその最も大変だった部分は同じく召喚獣が作るのがすごく大変だったことです。
The thing is, that was also the hardest thing, is creating these battles was just so difficult.
しばらくもう召喚獣はね、作らなくても大丈夫かな。
And so for me, I mean, I'm pretty much done with icons for a while.
Diablo?
No, thank you.
Come on. Just one more.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for coming. It means a lot that you still want to stay with us on this journey. So I want to say thank you to our incredible panel. Thank you for coming here today, and have a lovely rest of your PAX East.
Só duas perguntinhas.
Thank you, guys.
Alguém com o 16 ali na frente, a caixinha. Uma cosplayer de Jill ali do lado.
It's joke.
That's a joke.
発売日発表させていただきます。
And so our release date, here we go.
今日じゃ
Eu disse que ia ser em abril, porra! Não, não, abril é muito cedo. O bagulho vai ser em junho, vai ser em julho. Vai! Abril, eu tava certa.
18th, 2024, that's like 3
Quem é que eu tinha duvidado de mim? Não lembro se foi o Caio ou se foi o Andrew. Eu preciso jogar na cara dessas pessoas. Calma! Tava certa, porra! Vou tirar uma foto com o celular mesmo e foda-se!
So of course, the price here, it says $19.99 US. We also have the expansion pass, which will allow you access to both Echoes of the Fallen and the Rising Tide. So we would hope that people would consider.
All right, thank you.
There's more?
2 more informations.
Okay.
Okay.
君らそんなに帰りたいの
Do you really want to just get on the stage?
Eu falei que o motivo do evento ser em abril era porque a DLC sairia em abril também.
すでに発表させていただいてるんですが、ファイナルファンタジー16とファイナルファンタジー14のクロスオーバークエストが間もなく、公開となります。
So of course we've announced this coming, but finally we are almost there. Final Fantasy 14 and a 16 crossover event.
No release date.
Not finished? No release date?
No release date.
No release date on this one
No
yet,
release
sorry.
date. 違う。明日、
Oh,
ファイナルファンタジー14のヨシピーのパネルがあるらしいから。
But that said, I know there's a panel tomorrow with the producer and director of Final Fantasy 14.
彼のほら、プレゼンテーションにね、情報ちょっと渡してあげないとさ。
And so, we might want to give him some room for his thing, right?
okay.
Entendi. Vamos esperar que amanhã
Because he's
o
gonna
produtor do
be-
14 vai estar aí pra poder falar mais.
One last thing.
さらにですね、ファイナルファンタジーブレイブエクスビアスの方で、16のコラボレーションスタートします。
Ai.
Okay.
And so, Final Fantasy Brave Exvius will be hosting a collab with Final Fantasy 16.
Eu falou um collab. Você ela falou collab. Que parecia que tipo é um collab, só que legal, ele é cool. Collab. Não sei, às vezes o cara é muito atarefado. O produtor do 14 deve só chegar no final da noite nesses eventos. Deve ir no PAX Est só amanhã mesmo para o painel. Não vai estar lá no evento hoje, não. Me diz os números da loteria. Porra, eu queria. Isso eu queria acertar.
Releasing a PC version soon, and so your continued support on that is definitely appreciated as well.
Thank you, guys.
Não, a DLC sai em abril. O evento com o 14 não tem data ainda. Deixa eu voltar. Sucesso aqui. E... deixa eu mudar pra cá essa tela. Falar com vocês, Moogles. Lembrar vocês que hoje, às 3h30 da tarde, sai o nosso videozinho do Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, guiazinho das tropas de Junon. Mesmo que vocês não precisam, vai lá no vídeo, abre, deixa o like, me ajuda pra caramba. Então vai lá, não esquece, hoje às 3h30. E hoje à noite, como eu já abri stream hoje, e talvez eu tenha que abrir amanhã por causa do PAX, eu não sei se eu vou abrir stream de noite, tá? Não vou dar certeza pra vocês. Mas, vocês já sabem que quem tá no Discord recebe notificaçãozinha quando tem o cargo lá de Watcher. Então, vocês vão ser notificados. E qualquer coisa eu aviso se eu não for abrir também. Porque, né, normalmente eu abro de sexta. A galera que não tá assistindo a stream pode acabar não ficando sabendo. Mas eu ainda tô vendo. Eu estou em dúvida se eu jogo o 14, o 7 ou o 10. Então tá meio sem data certa pra cada um, tá vindo muito da vibe. Porque aí pelo menos eu não me sinto forçada a jogar. Tinha umas horas que eu tava jogando 10 e eu ficava, mano, só tô jogando 10 porque eu tô me sentindo muito forçada a terminar ele logo. Aí como eu tô mais de boa, a gente joga o que tá ali, o coração tá falando, não, eu queria jogar o Final Fantasy XIVzinho, sabe? Então é isso. Obrigada a todo mundo que assistiu aqui comigo. Tenham um bom dia aí, por causa que ainda é muito cedo pra dar boa noite e bom descanso pra vocês. E é isso. Videozinho às 3. E segue as redes sociais tudo, @MOOGLE'SCAVE em todas as redes sociais pra não perder as novidades. Falou!